College basketball transfer portal just got even more crazy yesterday as more stars are entering the portal. And for a lot of teams that maybe missed on a few players or maybe were waiting to spend some of that NIL money for some different players, are going to have a good opportunity to pick up some stars. And let's talk about them. The first one and the biggest one that entered the transfer portal yesterday was PJ Haggerty from Memphis. He was only a sophomore last season, averaged 21 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, and 3 assists per game. So he's going to have 2 more years of eligibility remaining, and he's going to be one of the top guards or one of the top players in the transfer portal, and definitely that is still available. There are already a ton of teams looking to go after him, and it was rumored that he was asking for about $4 million from Memphis to return to play for the Tigers next season. It seems so weird to me. I knew immediately it had to be a money issue because he felt like the perfect fit to play for Penny Hardaway there as a guard for Memphis. He had a phenomenal sophomore season. It seemed like he was going to return to play for them until he was able to get drafted to the NBA. But it came down to money. There are going to be other teams that are going to be willing to pay him that $4 million, and already there are some rumored teams out there for PJ Haggerty, and those teams being Baylor, Alabama, Florida, Texas, and Kansas are the 5 big ones I see really going after PJ Haggerty. A lot of these teams make sense, especially in Baylor's case. They lost their entire roster, whether to graduation, to the NBA draft, or the transfer portal. They are going to need a star guard, and they will have the funds to do it as they have a completely empty roster right now. Alabama, Florida, Texas, Kansas are all teams that do have a lot of money and haven't really spent big yet this offseason, so are definitely going to be able to offer him that $4 million. Is a return to Memphis a possibility for PJ Haggerty? I would say no. It is possible. Maybe he is going to reach out to some of these other teams, see that they are offering him about $4 million, maybe give Memphis a chance to match it. I'm not so sure, but I would say he is not going to return to Memphis, and the top teams right now that I'm seeing are Baylor, Alabama, and Florida. We will see which team does pay him that money. Next up, also from Memphis, another star player from the Tigers entering the transfer portal, and that is the center, Dane Danger, a really good center. Before he played at Memphis, he did play at Illinois, was a beast in the post this past season, averaging 14 points per game, 7 boards, and shooting over 61% from the field, just getting it done very consistently and efficiently in the post, and that would be a great get for anybody. I do think he does have to get an extra year of eligibility granted by the NCAA, but I'm pretty sure he will be able to get that done. They seem to be giving out extra years to a lot of players, but right now it is looking like a return to Memphis is possible, as he did make a tweet saying not going anywhere, no decisions have been made, so a return to Memphis does seem possible. Shout out to QT, one of my subscribers on Twitter, for sending me that post, kind of giving me some information on what's going on there in Memphis. But a return to Memphis does seem possible for Dane Danger, especially if he can get that extra year of eligibility remaining. And with PJ Haggerty leaving, that does, seem to open up a lot of money there at Memphis that they might be able to throw a little bit of extra cash at Dane Danger as well. Also, I've been seeing a ton of Illinois fans wanting Dane Danger to return to play for Illinois as well. So I would say, honestly, the 2 favorites that I'm seeing right now is a return to Memphis or a return to Illinois, both of which he's played for before. Another big shocker in the transfer portal that did enter yesterday was Chad Baker-Mazara, the senior guard from Auburn that did make it to the Final Four this past season. Now, he is a very controversial player in college basketball, not only because he does, talk a lot of smack on the court, on the basketball court, and do a lot of things that opposing teams do find annoying. He's just one of those players that where if he's on your team, you love him. If you're playing against him, you hate him. And he's also 25 years old in college. A lot of fans seem like, he shouldn't have another year of eligibility, but he does, and he is 25 years old. He did average 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists as a guard wing for Auburn, who did make it to the Final Four this past season, and right now it is looking like Louisville might be the favorites. Apparently he did vacation with Kassan Pryor, who is going to be returning for the Louisville next season, assuming he can get another year of eligibility granted, which it seems like he is a player that will, especially that he was injured most of this past season, so he might be able to pass for that injury redshirt. But he was vacationing with Kassan Pryor, and Kassan Pryor did post a picture working out with Chad Baker-Mazara on the same day that he did enter the transfer portal. So I would say the early favorites to land Baker-Mazara would be the Louisville Cardinals right now. A few other good players that did enter the transfer portal recently that I have not talked about yet here on the channel is Mustapha Thiam, who was a freshman 7'2" center for Central Florida last season. They lost their front court, already lost Keyshawn Hall to Auburn, and now losing Thiam, who was a beast of a freshman center, averaged 10 points per game last year, 6 boards, and over 2.5 blocks as a freshman. What a beast. And right now, a lot of people are crystal balling him to actually go to Cincinnati. Now, this would be a really good get for Cincinnati. I would expect him to be a top 15 transfer portal player, not because of his stats, but because of his size and because he's only a freshman. Assuming he doesn't, enter the NBA draft over the next couple years, he's going to have 3 more years of eligibility remaining and already shows a ton of potential as a 7'2" center. What a get it would be for Cincinnati. Another team that I see in the mix for him is going to be Indiana, but a lot of people crissballing him to Cincinnati right now. And the last player we're going to talk about here in this video is Doug McDaniel, a very good point guard for Kansas State last year, and before that did play at Michigan, averaged 11 points per game, 2 rebounds, and 5 assists last season for the Kansas State Wildcats. And the big storyline going on right now is he might be PJ Haggerty's replacement at Memphis, so that's really why I wanted to throw him in this video. I haven't talked about him yet. There are some other teams that are going to be going after him. But he's had some big games this season, in particularly against Kansas when they were able to knock them out. He had, I believe, 15 points and over 10 assists in that game. So he has a ton of potential as a playmaker, and I know that if he can get under Penny Hardaway, he can turn Doug McDaniel into a star next season. So I think it would be a really good get for Memphis, especially if they are going to lose PJ Haggerty. That might not be such a bad replacement, especially because he is obviously going to ask for a lot less money. So that may be the point guard for the Memphis Tigers next year. I did want to throw him in this video because he is a very good point guard. Whether he does go to Memphis or not, they will be getting, whichever team will be getting, a really good point guard who has a ton of upside, especially as a playmaker and can score if you do need him to. But that is going to do it for this transfer portal update. Kind of a big update. The transfer portal just got crazier, and a lot of these teams that have been missing on players might be able to throw a lot of money at some of these guys who are entering later in the month. So make sure you guys subscribe for more transfer portal updates. We're going to have an NBA mock draft coming out here soon and a ton of other college basketball content here on the channel. So subscribe, hit that like button if you guys enjoy, and yeah guys, thank you so much for watching.